Welcome to NOCLIP, the podcast that's like a book club for people who don't think that books reward them enough for being good at them. I'm Chad Ruthermond.
I'm Andy Kinnick.
And I'm JJ Artemis.
And today, we're going to be talking about Ring Fit Adventure.
But first, if you could give us a like or a rating, it would be greatly appreciated.
Ring Fit Adventure was developed by Nintendo EPD, published by Nintendo, and was released on the Switch in 2019. Though, God help you if you wanted a copy of it then.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game for the rich.
Yeah,
It was
Successful. And
a Nintendo game with a physical peripheral. So they printed like 20 of them.
Yeah. They were very difficult to get a hold of at the beginning, which I remember being a news story and then being like, I'm never going to play that anyway, so like, who gives a shit?
And then I forced you to play it.
Yeah, here we are.
Mm-hmm. And how do
about
you feel about that decision now that I have unambiguously forced both of you to into the Ring Fit lifestyle?
I am curious about a lot of things.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of my discussion on this is probably going to be sort of like, there's going to be some incredulity in my voice, I think, at times.
It's all right. My mind was also filled with mysteries when I first learned of this video adventure.
Yeah, so that's good. I am mostly... I think I understand, after a lot of meditation, like why this game is as popular among the people who've played it as it is. Mm-hmm. But it's all very sort of like in summation sort of thoughts. Mm-hmm. So
it's very higher order brain, not like the low order brain that normally controls whether or not you love things instantly.
Right. Yeah. So I think what I want to open with is not Ring Fit Adventure, but in fact We Fit, which would be, I think, generally agreed upon as being like the progenitor of this game.
Yes.
For yoga pansies, yes.
Mm-hmm. Is that what it's like a group of, elephants is called a herd. A group of people practicing yoga is a yoga pansy.
It's one pansy. Yeah.
But yeah, so the Wii being the Wii, so any game that came out for it that wasn't like inherently flawed because of the Wii's architecture became immediately insanely well
received.
Adopted.
Yeah, you're gonna have to lower the floor there. There were games that were not operable that sold very well on the Wii. So
that's also true. Yeah, Skyward Sword, and fucking at NOCLIP Podcast.
Welcome back, JJ.
Because dumping on Skyward Sword is just such a niche activity.
Well, no, I put that there so people knew that they could tweet at us about what a bad take it was.
It's so subtle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and I think that like that game obviously sold incredibly well, as evidenced by the fact that like Wii Fit Trainer is just like a character in Super Smash Brothers, and like people make lots of jokes about like the Wii remote guy being like, make sure you wear your wrist strap. It's like like Wii Fit is a cultural thing.
Yeah, you can find these boards in all sorts of basements everywhere. All sorts of basements.
Every basement has one in it if you look hard enough.
That's true.
Assuming you have a family.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that sort of the success of that is probably what led to Ring Fit Adventure being something that was like an idea that they had. This game falls largely in the genre of like fitness games, which is a nebulous and hard to define genre of game. Like I would put something like Let's Dance or Just Dance, do nothing but dance.
It's Just Dance.
Yeah,
you got it in two.
I did. I like do nothing but dance.
That'll be the sequel series.
Listening to you try and describe this world is how I imagine like the earliest settlers of the Wild West would like explore various brush-filled caverns and large craggy cliffs. Mm-hmm. You are exploring this whole space with your mouth right now.
Well, I think that it is the reason that I even bring up the dance games is because I think that is the most distant inclusion that I would include in the same genre.
I agree. Yeah, they are the chipmunks to the squirrel. That is.
They represent themselves as rhythm games, as chipmunks, as a different species.
Correct.
But in reality, they're just squirrels, aka fitness games, for the most part. Like, that seems to be their prime directive.
Yeah, body controlled activities. Mm-hmm. Just my favorite word for sports.
Yes. And then, and so you end up with something like Ring Fit out of a desire to make something that is explicitly exercise, but with a lot more emphasis on the actual game part of it.
Yeah, I think one of like the big things that people disliked about Wii Fit, I'm gonna like hesitate every time I ever say either of the names of these games now because I like mix them up.
They're jumbled entirely in my
like
mind.
Wii Fit Adventure or But anyway, a thing that people had a problem with Wii Fit was that it was really dry.
Yeah.
It was like just like a fitness like planner basically. And so they set out with this, I think it seems pretty clearly to like make a game it's not like a game first, but it's as much a game as it is like a fitness app or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Because if the goal was to use the Wii balance board as a way to tempt gamers into fitness, they did not succeed in that endeavor. They instead made a video game for non-gamers, as you know, as we take a very hard line stance on who is and is not a gamer, of course, in the NoClip podcast. But yeah, so instead the
NoClip iconoclast.
The front gatekeepers are back.
Goddamn. Yeah. So instead, Ring Fit Adventure is here to act as like a tempting jewel to try and get all those gamers into fitness.
There's a joke in here about the power jewels or whatever they're called, but I'm not prepared to make it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. How do you guys think that the game hit that ratio then? Like, gamifying exercise is like literally the oldest trick in the book as far as trying to make people exercise who don't want to.
Well, for people our age, for people who are like, if you try and explain this game to anyone over 55, like, that's not going to succeed. But you're correct. Like,
yeah, they'll be like, well, just go work in the quarry.
Go till my fields.
Once again, the NoClip iconoclast coming down very hard.
My garden won't plow itself, young man.
Okay, all right.
Putting a very literal spin on the strong as an ox, like, aphorism.
True. But the modern youths have really been, since the days of Pong, like, inundated with people with a very explicit anti-video games agenda, attempting to tempt us gamers away from our gamer paradises and into all this fitness crap. And they were all liars and cheats who didn't know anything about games and just wanted to put numbers on stuff. And now we got something way better. We got the good numbers. We got, the kings of the mountain, Nintendo, coming in with good numbers.
They do have good numbers. I want to get Andy's take on it, but I also want to say, like, personally, I think that they hit the 50-50 that you had implied earlier really well. But your description of it, I think, really explains me as a person really well. Andy is more familiar with this than most people are, but like, I have an extreme distaste and suspicion anytime that I hear or see someone say or do something that I feel like someone else told them to do. Like, whenever, if you call a line, like a phone number for a company, and they answer by saying, like, hey, this is name of company, how can I fucking do some shit for you? At, like, reading off a script, immediately I just, like, am filled with an intense hatred.
Oh, yeah, you want to meet the puppet master.
Yeah, well...
I remember you talking about this in relation to just, like, fast food workers, like, where it feels like they aren't really responding to what you say to them, and they're just saying their shtick.
All right.
Yeah, you're like, I assume that they're a robot.
And, yeah, and to make sure this isn't like misrepresented.
Damn it, I was going to misrepresent you immediately.
I knew you were prepared to. This is not a disdain for the worker. This is a disdain for just like corporate culture. It's just something that like rubs me the wrong way.
Yes.
And I've kind of grown up with it and understand that like my reaction is not the rational right one. It is just how I react to it. And I think that is it. Like when you're saying like people our age grew up with people like, get your run points in so that you can spend them on like some bracelet or some shit.
Make your Pokemon big.
Yeah, exactly. Immediately I just identify that as like, stop trying to trick me, just tell me the thing that you want me to know. And like it makes me push back on this kind of thing a lot. So I agree that that they hit the ratio well. But I think that my ratio needs to be like 100% in either direction, or I'm going to like rebel against it.
I guess for me, I think they kind of like nailed it with this for me. Like I think the ratio is like close to perfect, where it really does feel like playing a game a lot of the time, and it's like the pacing of everything is such that you're always thinking about something different. Like the worst part I think about exercising, at least for me, is it can get tedious and you just kind of focus on like, oh, this sucks and I don't want to be doing it anymore. But like this has enough factors that I'm always like, you know, like an RPG, like the RPG elements really help it. Like, do I need to make a smoothie so I can do this, or I need to like, you know, I can't use that move because it's recharging, and you know, like and like I'm watching the little dude on the side. I'm like, I got to keep the right posture, and there's enough like factors that they've gamified, and I think it's a bunch of little subtle things like that which are like really impressive and make it like a pretty smooth experience. Like the big thing for me with this is like I already like have been like trying to like exercise more as an adult, and so I did this as like a supplement, so it always felt like I needed to like my extra time had to go to Ring Fit. So like that was my biggest thing, is like how much time it took, even though it doesn't take much time.
Yeah.
So
the individual sessions don't take much time, but I am to this very day absolutely alarmed by the length of the game in total. Just for scale, what level was your characters by the time that you quit? And don't worry, I assume none of us finished it, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's comical.
Yeah, I ended up putting about 15 hours into this, and I think my character's like either like high 40s or like low 50s.
Yeah, I also don't remember the exact number, but I put like 10 in, so I imagine that I would be in like the 30s.
My character is a level 154, and I have no idea when the game's going to end.
I didn't.
Not a clue.
I peeked the other day just out of curiosity, and you had like 70 hours in this. I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
Like How Long to Beat says it takes about that long.
How Long to Beat, first of all, if you like, okay, big respect to How Long to Beat because I use it constantly. Like, it's one of my favorite video game based websites.
Very useful for this podcast.
Yeah. But side note, if you just Google it instead of going to How Long to Beat, it just says 3 months. And I was like, what does that mean? Like explain what that means to me.
Well, that would... In my mind, I would think like 15 minutes a day every day for 3 months.
Yeah, that was my assumption as well. But the game is very open, as it should be. Like, you should not actually be playing it daily unless you're already fit, in which case, what the fuck are you doing here at Ring Fit Adventure?
It's literally for the game at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also like this year it makes sense, right? If you don't want to go outside. And I know the game's super popular in Japan, and I think it's because they have a lack of like space.
Yeah.
So like people like to just work out in their house.
I just meant from like muscle fatigue. I just meant like you know, the weak noodly gamers attempting for their sit-ups for the first time ever, and they should be taking a break because they will hurt themselves with their own weakness.
Gamers are their own worst enemy.
I mean, if anything, I'm like proof positive of that, right? Because like I played this game. It wasn't daily. I played it 5 days a week for 3 weeks daily.
Damn.
And that's where the majority of my playtime came from. It was like my first 3 weeks with the game, essentially.
Yeah.
And then after that, like because I'd be like, there was a period of time when Andy was working out of the living room instead of in his room due to reasons. Yeah. And like, you're not gonna if you do Wii Fit in front of another person, you have so little shame that I am impressed with you. Like, I would like mentoring.
Correct. Yeah. That could be a public punishment in the cyber future.
Yeah. I mean, if you would have just asked, I could have just moved to the kitchen.
Well, yeah, but I'm not gonna uproot someone so that I can spend 20 minutes running in place.
I mean, I'm just saying it would have taken no effort for me to just walk into the kitchen with my laptop.
Think of the dominance power you could have displayed by like starting, since you know the exercises by now, you turn away from the TV, you do like 20 squat reps just staring Andy straight in the eye.
That is, well, because the other version of this is doing anything at all in VR, but like in VR there's like an implied comical element to anyone viewing someone else in VR, because there's that like they can't see what we see.
Yeah, they're not responsible for their social perception right now because they're not here.
Exactly. And also with Ring Fit, it's like if somebody's watching you do Ring Fit, not only can you see that person while you're doing it, but like they're gonna be like even subconsciously like critiquing like they're breathing kind of heavy for just doing a couple of squats, right?
It's also just kind of weird that you're being like active and moving around and they're just sitting.
Yeah. That does imply some social pressure there. You're correct. Come to think of it, I've never been in a circumstance outside of like events where the actual physical activity was what was supposed to be witnessed.
Yeah, like a sporting event.
You're doing exercise beside another person
who's just hanging out.
Who's just hanging, yeah. They have to be involved or engaged with the activity, or it is weird as shit.
Can you start sweating more? It's getting warm in here. Yeah. Like, no, but I made a joke. Like when we first started playing the game, it's like, oh, Nintendo's gonna hack into the PlayStation camera on top of our TV and like just spy on you.
Your posture's not right,
idiot. No, I totally sympathize with that. Like, I've like gone to the Y here and like done exercise classes and like done exercise around people, and it's like whatever. But there is something weird about just like being in your living room, and like you do feel like you look over your shoulder, like, you know, like you get to see that feeling of like being uncomfortable for someone to be watching me right now.
Yeah.
It feels like
it feels personal.
Yeah, and private. It's and like this is for yours and the audience's benefit, totally unspoken. Like Andy and I never had like sat down and had an agreement where we're like, somebody's playing Ring Fit, don't come into the room. But like I would like walk in the living room and see that he had he was playing with his Ring Con and
and my straps.
And your straps. And then I would just be like, all right. And then I would just like kind of bolt to a different room for a couple minutes until he finished up.
Yeah.
It's just like...
Until I was toweling off.
Yeah.
That's the thing I don't think we've been clear with. If it wasn't clear, this game, if it had been like most rational people, just on the periphery of your gaming attention... It's literally just exercise. Like it is real, actual, you will kill yourself exercise, because it is just exercises. It's not like some kind of, namby-pamby Wii balance board, nonsense. Like, yoga, which is fake lies created by Buddhists to scam you for money. Those nasty, greedy Buddhists.
Well, I will say...
Some hot takes.
I have played both Ring Fit and Wii Fit, and it is notable, like, the amount of activity that Ring Fit requires. Like, that was always the thing that I feel like Wii Fit had a problem with, is that, like, you didn't feel like you were exercising.
Yeah.
Like, yoga doesn't feel like exercise. It just feels like very hard to do things.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna pick up jokes for a minute and take it out of the room and about yoga. The reason why yoga rarely feels like exercise, either in this game or on the balance board,
because you're not doing it right.
Because you're fucking it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yoga is just something that yoga is more mentally taxing for me because of the amount of failure that I'm registering. Like whenever I'm thinking about it.
But that's honestly why it's one of my favorite things to actually do, at least in this game, which is like the only time I will probably ever even attempt yoga unless my sister rips me into it in some capacity.
Dude, I actually recommend it.
Yeah,
I've been doing it. Like I found like a 10-minute routine on YouTube, and like you just feel so much better. Like, if you've had a moment where you, like, a senior moment, perhaps,
Mm-hmm.
if you've had, like, where you just woke up and your back hurts or your, like, neck hurts and you're like, oh my god, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Just start doing yoga a couple times a week and you'll feel, like, so much better.
Fuck yeah, I'll do that then. Because it was a weirdly cognitive experience for me. I didn't anticipate how much focus it would take to get the forms right.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of swimming in a good way in that respect. So like, yeah, anything that keeps exercise from being like, get up on that Stairmaster and do the same thing for the rest of your life until you die.
Yeah, like, once you get, like, like over, like, the first couple times you've done it, you know, like, the moves and stuff, yeah, like, it's not hard, and it's more like you get the benefits later. It's, like, not about, like, feeling like you're doing something in the moment.
Yeah, you're not getting yourself forward tough. You're just getting
Like, you're not gonna
shapely and sexy.
You're not gonna sweat from, like, a 10-minute yoga thing, but you'll feel great later.
I would sweat from 10
Well,
minutes
okay,
of
yeah,
yoga,
unless it's
but,
like in a hot room or something.
I would
but-
want to sweat. I always feel better after I sweat a ton
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, that's fair.
get those
just
endorphins, baby.
in life.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like, people talk about exercise like, you exercise and then afterward you feel super good about it. And, like, the reason that is the case is because of your body's reaction to that energy. So you feel better after you sweat a whole bunch because of that reason, not because the sweat itself is making you feel good.
Fair.
Bringing all your namby-pamby science into this.
I have to bring something into this because fitness ain't it, so...
But yeah, I think JJ was getting at it before we got into that tangent there. But, like, I was really surprised after the first time that I actually played the game, because seeing, like, trailers for it, like, I was, like, skeptical about, like, the ring, like, how much you could really do with it, because, like, I've never really done any kind of, like, resistance training kind of workouts, which is what the ring is. Like, you push on it and pull on it. And so yeah, I was skeptical of it. I was like, what can you do with that? I don't fucking know.
It looks as awkward as it
Yeah,
feels.
like, it just like, watching somebody do it, you're like, I don't get it, you know? Like, you have to actually do it yourself. And it's like, I was surprised. Like, they get a lot of legitimate workouts in there, a lot of different techniques and whatever, and you're actually, like, breathing heavy and you're sweating and you're like, oh wow, this is like a real workout. Like, I was impressed.
Yeah, and also, like, they do a decent to good job of actually registering the movement that you're making. There are obviously, like, some things, like, unless, like, they had you put on a mocap suit, like, just, like, Ring Fit, and you get in a big mechanical sphere that monitors your bodily movements.
Correct.
There's no way for them to, like, judge everything that you're doing as to whether or not you're doing it properly. But I think that they do a good enough job that incentivizes you to try your best to actually match what they want, even if you're somebody who just doesn't know what that is. Like, they have enough of, like, an instruction. Like, there were some things, I forget what it's called. The leg lift,
Yeah.
I think, is one where they want you to, get into a supine position and raise your leg up and then put it back down. And I felt like that one just was not a Ring Fit approved exercise, because, like, you would move your leg up and it would be like, yeah, all right, sure, that's a rep.
Yeah.
And then you put it back down, it's like, I think your leg might still be up, but I'm not. Okay. It, like, registered weirdly. And so what I would get into is, like, in my attempts of trying to get it to register it, I would end up cheating miserably.
Correct.
Just, like, basically on accident, and then eventually just, like, to get through the exercise, just kind of like, I'm just going to kind of, like, jerk my leg back and forth so it thinks that. So I just had to take those off of, like, my pool of things to do.
Yeah, your sweet skill bar.
Yeah, because it's just pointless at a certain point. But most of them, I think, did a surprisingly good job of actually knowing.
Yeah, like 85 is what I'd pin it at.
Yeah.
Specifically the prone ones that I consistently had issues with.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones where you had to, like, lean to the side always got fucked up for me. Like, the warrior pose, like, leaning to the left, it's always like, I'm always like, I keep going and it just doesn't register, and I have to go, like, Just shake it, and then it's like, bing, and I'm like, okay, there it is.
That's the ambiguity for me, is that because it was a yoga one, I didn't know if I was just fucking up the warrior pose.
Yeah, but like
So-
I experimented with those a lot because it was bothering me, and I could never get it consistent. So I assumed it's like a motion thing. Because there's one that you do to get hearts back.
Yeah.
Is also like, oh, you're on the ground and you lean back and forth. I had the same problems with it, and I even tried like putting my back up against the coffee table. I'm like, now I know my back is straight, and I'm definitely only turning at my waist, and it did the same shit. So,
Yeah.
Same shit, different day.
Oh yeah, check out our
Another
merch
day
shop
on the
for no clip, same shit, different day t-shirts.
Exclusively created.
it's just the ring, but with JJ's face instead of ring. The ring.
And that would actually. All right, don't worry, we're working on it.
It's good. Thank you.
You mean I'm working on it?
Correct.
We have our best guy on it.
Can we talk about Ring? I want to talk about Ring.
Yeah, I would love to talk about. What's the time?
I don't know. I can't see.
Because I want to talk about a lot.
32, I think.
I want to talk about a lot of the
Yeah, I feel like that's
the
second half
the
material.
framing stuff.
All right, fine.
Unless you want to talk about the ring, in
No.
which case,
Just
go ahead.
know, I'm taking discussion of Ring, the individual. I'm coming back for that motherfucker. He's not being forgotten in all this. He has things to answer for that I would like to discuss.
So I guess if we're gonna put that stuff to the second half, a more mechanical thing is, what do you guys think of the actual like levels? Because like I thought one thing that stood out to me about them is that they have like multiple paths, like it's a Sonic game or whatever, and like that felt like a weird choice to me, because like I really don't feel like most people will play the levels again, and I don't really even think they're intended to be.
Okay, counterpoint, though surprising. I thought I was just going to be like, I agree. I did play levels again, and B, liked that they had multiple paths because it really incentivized you to like be able to react and do the thing that they wanted. But I replayed levels like grinding, right?
Right, yeah.
Like I did it in order to gain levels so that I was at a higher combat level approaching a boss or a mini boss or something.
I never even thought to do that.
It's not the kind of game that you would think that would even be an option.
Yeah.
So
Although I guess
But
grinding
I was-
in this game is also grinding you. Like you are also grinding yourself.
You're getting gains. You're
Yeah.
gaining. You're
Yeah.
not grinding.
correct.
But yeah, what you just made me think of, like if you fail a level, like that's a reason. Like,
Yeah.
you would have another opportunity to go a different way.
And like getting materials.
Yeah.
Especially in the later levels, the materials will become comparatively rare, and you have to take more active steps and like make smoothies designed to allow you to harvest those specific materials and stuff. So yeah, there's and as a general rule, because I didn't want to miss out on any of the like unique materials, I just did everything in every level before I went to the next one. And I don't know what triggers it. I didn't want to spoil myself on the narrative surprise, so I haven't looked this up. But it's unclear to me what actually triggers certain side quests to appear in each discrete level, because they're not automatic. And even if I know that certain like power unlocks in the later game, like when you eventually get the ability to fly, which is a thing.
What kind of exercise do you have to do?
You put the ring into your chest and you beat it over and over again, like
okay.
you're trying to like induce some kind of pregnancy. Like, yeah, it's very bad.
Don't actually push on your pregnant stomach like that.
No, you're trying to induce pregnancy, so you're not pregnant at the time.
okay.
It's like, why aren't you here, baby? Like,
you just kind of got to shuffle it around, you know.
yeah, you gotta get it. Just mix it all up.
Just
yeah?
mix it up.
Like
No.
you're making a delicious smoothie.
No clip. Mix it up.
The t-shirts are just...
The really bad t-shirts are just flying.
You don't want to do the classic health book uterus cross section full of smoothie materials.
Oh, let's change the subject.
You were saying about the side quests and triggering them?
I don't know what makes them show up.
I didn't even know. I thought it was just progression based. Like
Yeah.
at the point that I didn't know that there was more.
Every time you beat one of the worlds, you'll get a percentage of your full completion, which just measures both the levels that you've gotten through, all the things that you've managed to accomplish in those levels, and how many of the side quests that you've done. So I'd regularly do literally everything in a level, complete it, and then at the end it would be 72%. Fuck you. I was like, what? And I go back into the world and there's nothing to do. And 12 hours later, there's just suddenly a quest that I have no idea what. They don't seem to be related to anything because it's not like there are huge narrative arcs here. You're not gonna follow Tiffany back to her home. So
Yeah.
they just seem to show up.
They don't just show up when you go back to the shop. That's the way I thought that it worked.
I have no idea. It's a mystery to me.
That's interesting. Yeah, because the side quests I thought were actually. They weren't good. That isn't what I'm gonna say. But they were they were a thing. They incentivized different behaviors, and I thought that was good to keep things kind of to mix it up.
Yeah, they are a good option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I hate the smoothie making and the materials because it just feels bad. I'm trying to kind of
the way
put
that
this into
exercise does. Yeah, you're gonna be more specific there.
No, not a good bad. It's not feeling the burn. It's feeling the tedium of being we didn't. So you mentioned the thing that actually the exercise that you can get that actually gives you hearts back.
Yeah,
that's great. That should have been way earlier in the game than it is, because sometimes you go into a fight and they just they're we don't expect you to do this without having a handful of items to restore your health, and that just feels wrong to me because I just ignored all material through the whole game up until I hit a wall of a level that was you have to do it.
It's RPG bias right there.
I actually agree with you. I didn't think I was when you started. But because I think it does feel weird that you're able to lose a boss or an encounter due to the fact that you didn't have items and not even though you were performing the exercise appropriately, it stings to lose because you didn't have a smoothie.
Yeah.
I can only speculate because I have never lost a
Of
Ring Fit
course.
Adventure.
That's the most JJ thing.
Oh, because you just you made the smoothies before. You're this is gonna come in handy.
I do agree. I think that the heart, the exercise that restores hearts, it should have been flipped. That should have been your main way to regain health, and then the smoothies were the thing
if
on
you're
top.
doing badly,
for buffs.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the buff smoothies, no issue at all with.
Yeah.
I'm glad those exist and shit.
There's so many of them.
Yeah, there are. They just kept introducing them. I'm I don't even remember what half of these do.
You have no idea. They just keep introducing everything. Did you get to the point where you actually finally got the ability to start unlocking skills on the skill tree?
Yeah.
Okay.
They just got to that.
That tree expands 2 more times, and I don't know if it's going to keep expanding forever because I have no idea when this game is going to end.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think the last significant thing I did in the story was I did all the stuff with the masters, Allegra and Armando and all of them.
Oh, you get used to them because they've been around for a while.
Well, I did that, and then the boss, and then he kidnapped them all or something, and that's where I am. For reference,
this game, as usual, squeezing absolutely every inch out of every model and level that it can possibly create. They are included among that. But at the very least, while that normally would be something that in an average video game would be dreary and boring, because when you think about repeating models in most video games, you're thinking about it in the context of the standard mechanical interaction of that game. So it's a recolor of a different monster in an RPG. Time for me to fight this thing with the same tactics again, over and over again. But when you repeat these things in Ring Fit, that generally doesn't change what you're actually doing at a mechanical level. Instead, it just means the writers get the chance to goof off, which was most of the fun that I had with the game, and frankly, most of the reason that I actually recommended it for the podcast in the first place, because I needed more than just the weird story of, oh, this is a strange thing to exist as a product to get it on here. The actual, especially the further in the game that you go, the actual game itself is also weird. You can tell at the very least the English localization team really just had a lot of fun with this in a way that was truly bizarre.
Yeah, I've also recently been playing Dragon Quest, and I feel really similarly about that. Like, I feel like the localization team has, like, a field day with all of, like, the puns and, like, the weird wordplay names, and this definitely has a similar feel.
Mm-hmm. I got through a level recently about a child lying about the existence of demonic deer, and how you had to like hunt down this child to like prove that demonic deer don't exist. And then it turns out that they do anyway for reasons entirely unrelated to the child. And it just keeps going.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps going to the point where you describe something that I don't even understand how it fits into the framework of the game that I played for 10 hours.
The skill tree?
No, like the
demonic deer.
Yeah, there's like, how do you communicate that in the structure of a level of Ring Fit?
Because
it's on the map.
A, just writing. B, on the map. C, they take all of the models in the game just at all. They stop doing like, okay, we are out of bespoke monster models. What do we use? The robots from the side missions. Put those in there. They're enemies now too. Deer also enemies. Put a little glowy effect on them.
Oh, there were deer.
Yeah, literally anything that is 3D modeled in that game will eventually be something you fight with exercises.
The final boss is like 3 crates.
Is there like a Shadow Link, like dark version of you?
Not that I have encountered yet, but I imagine statistically it is inevitable.
Yeah, that seems very likely.
Yeah.
The real fitness challenge. You have to face yourself.
We can end this and then drop to the next half,
yeah,
and talk about that artifice that we're also excited to. But I have one last question, I think, that I would like an answer to from, well, I guess not from fucking JJ. How do you feel about the fact that you can fail things in this game?
Didn't you say you were asking that?
I said, I guess not JJ, because he never did fail.
I don't even know what happens when you lose.
I feel like
It's standard. You just drop back. You just replay it.
Oh, they don't just ban you from the game?
They say you're weak. We're mailing you some protein shakes. And you send a receipt back to confirm that you got them, and then we can continue.
We're charging your credit card.
Yes.
I think similarly to like what I said with when I was talking about the smoothies in the heart exercises, is like it does feel off that it's possible, because it could be to really no fault of your own as far as like your ability to do the exercises, and it's just like it's more on the game mechanics, like the RPG part, like, oh, you didn't make a spinach smoothie, and we threw like 5 enemies at you of differing types, and we just kind of blindsided you. Take that, you weakling.
Get fucked.
Yeah, get fucked. So yeah, it does feel weird. Like, it punishes you for not like always like stopping and like stocking up on stuff in between levels a little bit.
Well, you can fail on axes that aren't just the items, and I actually think the non-item axes are good. Like, I like the idea. Well, I like the type effectiveness mechanic specifically, as a way to force variation in the exercise.
Yeah.
And I think it's justified to fail someone for not varying exercises in a fitness game.
I agree with that, but I don't think that ever happened to me.
Sam.
Yeah.
Because like we are established video game players and also very buff boys.
Yeah, we're pro elite buff gamers.
Yeah. And I think that there was like there's an incentive even really before the introduction of the colored typed enemies, that you want to have like a variety of things. One, because they put colors on them, and we fucking know that that's gonna mean something eventually. Like, don't act like we're just gonna sit here and be like, just yellow for variety. And two, because like if you just literally do nothing but arm exercises, your arms will fall off, and then you'll have no arms with which to do those exercises.
Ring Fit doesn't let you skip leg day.
Exactly. So you don't want to do that. Like, so that was like something that we were prepared for, whereas like the smoothie thing was not. My reasoning for asking the question, I guess, is because it had like what happened to me was I lost to a boss because I had no smoothies, and I had already done like 3 levels at that point, and I was like, I'm not gonna try it again. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. And so I did my cooldown. I always do my cooldowns.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Sick.
I did my cooldown. I went to bed, and I got up the next day, and I did my shit, and then it was Ring Fit time, and I went, I don't want to do that boss again. Like, it discouraged me from doing the exercise that it was trying to encourage me to do by putting it in a game. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I did whenever I ran into a hard boss in another game. I was like, that was really hard, and I was so tired, I don't want to revisit that right now. And so I would put it off. And it was like 3 days before I got back and was like, I'm just going to go get a bunch of fucking spinach and make the goddamn smoothies I need.
Yeah, like, the boss fights are so long that it does feel kind of shitty to have to do them all over again. Like, putting in, like, a checkpoint in the middle or something and, like, giving you the option, like, hey, do you want to do the full thing again for the workout, or do you want to do it halfway for the progress kind of a thing?
Yeah. No, that would solve it.
Nintendo, where's my check?
I hope they're going to make more of these.
I just released some DLC.
No. There's other bullshit exercise objects, right, that they could sell as DLC.
Oh yeah, get your Ring Fit medicine balls. Just like a very heavy weight. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, no, there aren't.
Right.
Every other thing would be dangerous for children.
It's a Ring Fit headband that you put on so you can track your head motion.
That could be, but what head-based exercises are there?
I don't know, but they don't have to be head-based exercises. It just tracks where your head is while you're doing exercise.
You've never tried to get neck swole before? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, my question here is like, if you would need to add new exercises to the game, otherwise you're literally, I mean, you don't have to. You could literally do squats every day of your life for eternity, and it wouldn't be harmful to you to do that.
Right.
I disagree with that. Depending on how literal you're.
Yeah, with eternity.
That seems like a Satan torture, as the way you phrased it. Squat for
I'm
eternity?
saying, if you're just like, I'm a big fan of squats, that's my favorite exercise. I do 20 of them just before breakfast, and like at these points during the day, that's my workout routine. Nobody's gonna be like, fuck you. Bury it up.
I see what you mean now.
So the exercise does not need, but I feel like if your goal is to give the game more variety, you can't just add head tracking. You need to add dangerous exercise equipment to injure children.
My suggestion was just like kind of for accuracy. Like maybe those turning to the side would actually be more accurate if you had head tracking.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. Also, I made a big show of it, but honestly, if they just allowed you to have a second leg strap, I think that would fix a lot of problems. It would also make you look more like an assassin.
You would need more Joy-Cons, though.
Yeah.
That is the issue.
I really hope that when I have hypothetically reached the, at the moment, still purely hypothetical end to this video game, that there's like a dramatic, like a standard RPG, like all is lost moment. And in that moment, I hope the game just tells you to do an infinite number of squats until Ring saves you from the torture. Like, oh, that could be like, that'd be the best way to do like the Metal Gear Solid 4 microwave scene. It's like you just have to do exercises
Drago
forever.
has you in his dungeon, his squat dungeon.
Correct. Oh, I'm gonna talk so much about that swole fucking.
Do
dragon.
we want to talk more about Drago?
I mean, are you worked up? Do you feel like we've gotten a good rep in? Do you think we need to?
Do you need to check your pulse?
Yeah. Is your heart rate good? Mm-hmm. I think we should.
I want to do a victory pose right now.
Charge your squat power.
Release.
Take
Towards victory.
Towards the break. God, I want to talk about.
Oh, our legs are so sore.
All right, welcome back. Now we're gonna talk about Ring. That motherfucker.
What is his deal?
I don't know.
There's not enough lore in this game.
Ring is explicitly not a human person with a conscience or motives, really.
It almost, not nearly as sinisterly, so take this with a grain of salt, but I could almost see, like, in my wildest imagination, it going in, like, an Undertale direction, where he has some kind of ulterior motive for, like, getting you to do all the stuff that you do, and he could end up being, like, maybe not the villain at the end, but something that you had to stop him from doing something stupid.
Oh, he's definitely going to sacrifice himself in a
or something like
fashion
that,
to, like, reseal Drago in the confines of his ring where he was initially found.
You have to propose to Drago. You have to bind him in marriage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. With the ring, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's the realest Ring Fit adventure.
Yeah, the ring in Ring Fit Adventure is an engagement ring, is a plot line I'm not willing to follow.
You thought that this video game was subtly pushing like an anti-gamer agenda and making you exercise and do other lame shit, when in reality it was like, oh, but do you want to get this nice Protestant marriage? Do you know what I mean?
You gotta look good and fit if you want to get married.
Yeah. Yep.
They present you with your dress at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, why is everyone gets a dress?
Everyone gets a dress.
Cool.
That's just how dragons do.
Awesome in my book.
Yeah.
Big 2 thumbs up.
I don't know if that's even progressive or if that's just weird.
I think that it's just weird.
It's open. It's open, and that's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So, the ring.
Yes.
They had a lot of fun with the ring.
They had a lot of fun with his voice lines, that's for sure.
Yeah, I should have Googled this during the break to figure out who actually does the voice for Ring. It's never a satisfying thing to do, because you always Google it and then you figure out that it's just like, oh, it's a 40-year-old thin guy.
Mm-hmm.
He can just do this weird thing with his lungs, and that's why he's got the job.
Yeah, like for me, I feel like I love his voice in like the Cookie Masterson kind of way.
Yes, 100%.
It's like it's annoying, and you kind of don't like hearing it sometimes, but overall, you're like, yeah. That's Ring.
Because this whole game is just just grinding the irony line in, like, my favorite way.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably said this far too many times to you guys personally, but for the benefit of the podcast, I still don't know whether I'm laughing with or at Ring Fit Adventure, even 70 whatever hours into playing it.
Mm-hmm. It's probably, like, different aspects of it you're laughing at. In different aspects you're laughing with.
Yes. But I can tell people who made it really were enjoying themselves in some capacity, and that fun can be infectious even into exercise.
We're going to take a pause.
Okay.
And I'm going to just give you a little bit of information that you don't want, but I want you to have.
Okay. Is the VO for Ring an insane clown man?
No.
Is he a sex offender?
No, the VO
is he
for
dead
Ring
and recorded the lines from Beyond the Grave?
Okay,
did he die in a workout-related accident?
The VO for Ring is a guy named Tyler Scowcroft.
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 Definitely real name Scowcroft.
Awesome.
Awesome. And he has 4 credits.
Mm-hmm.
At all.
Cool.
The first of which is a 2012 short film called Val's Turn, which is apparently about a mail order bride. which is confusing, but maybe it's good. I don't know. Sounds like a student film.
Yeah, everyone's first credit is like a weird student film. It makes no sense and out of context, which is fine.
Yeah. And then he was in 2 zombie movies and Ring Fit Adventure. That's his whole career as an actor.
He nailed that audition.
Apparently, because I can't imagine going from Z Nation, playing the, I'm sure, incredibly important part of Test Taker, to being literally the lead voice actor in a Nintendo game.
Dude, everyone's got their breakout roles.
Yeah, it must have been an audition thing, but I really hope it wasn't. I really hope Nintendo of America was like, that annoying zombie extra is the exact kind of sound.
They headhunted him. Yeah.
I want to hear that man talk to me while I pretend to run alone in my house for 100 hours.
Well, I was just going to say, I know I've seen interviews with the woman who voices Pyra in Mithra, and I think it's like a similar thing where she didn't really do all that much before, and she's just now in Smash Brothers. So everybody needs, everyone gets their big break, I guess, eventually.
All VOs are like kind of like that a little bit, where they all always seem surprised that other people care about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fair. What was your deeper take on Ring? I gotta know.
No, I'm just alarmed by him.
Oh, okay.
No, just because I have a very strong take does not mean it is deep. This is a pure punch of a take. I don't understand him. I wish that there were
Go on.
I wish that there were answers to him somewhere for me to find, if he's some kind of djinn figure that like grants fitness-based wishes the hard way or something.
He's just the mystic fitness trainer.
Because like that's the one thing that I really think this game is missing, is like the Splatoon element of completely needless lore to like just spread over top like a delicious apple butter on everything below. Yeah, I want this game to have more depth in addition to its length. But like not real depth, like cheap depth, like just audio logs or something, or that you could like listen to while you're running.
I like the idea that like you run over and there's just like a scroll on the ground that you like hoover up with a ring.
Yeah. I feel like I was gonna disagree with you, but then I was like, no, you're right. The length of the game definitely could use something else to like keep you intrigued as you go along.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because you've played a lot more of this game than either of us, but like the plot of this game is go stop
Drago is in another castle.
Yeah, correct. It's a Saturday morning cartoon, and they completely lean into that, where every discrete world is just like another, like, oh, what's the gang gonna get up to this time? Oh no, he got away again by flying like he does every time.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to reuse the animation. It's a good animation. That's fine. I understand the constraints that you're under with an exercise video game that requires hundreds of hours for it to even be financially tenable. That's all right.
Yeah, like you go to a new world, there's like a brief scene with dialogue of somebody introducing what the wrinkle is this time. You complete 5 levels, 2 mini games, and go to the shop, and then there's a boss, and then you move on.
Yeah, but the further you go, there are also more wrinkles in between the discrete levels. You'll be interrupted by, say, a child screaming about Demon Deer and how he needs your assistance to prevent the end of his family.
It reminds me of that fucking D&D monster that's just like
the stump deer.
Yeah, the stump deer.
Okay, that's not like a D&D monster touchstone. That's a thing that I made up.
Yeah, but the stump deer
are not.
Well, it's getting its breakout role in
Ring Fit
Adventure.
This is fair. Thank you for the stump deer callback.
I love stump deer. That's all I'm trying to say.
Before we get too far past Ring for me to bring it up, I just wanted to shout out, like similarly to Hades, where I really like the head chef because of his onion chopping animation. I love Ring's animation when you're just making smoothies. Like it plays a little song and he just kind of like bobs his head back and forth like this, and it just looks like the happiest thing that ever existed. I love that animation.
Well, you can't, because like when he's talking about we need more lore, you can't even really analyze Ring's design. Because he's a circle.
He's just a face on a ring.
Yeah, and he has like kind of like I get sort of like that vague nebulous ancient civilization vibe. Like you could imagine it carved into something or like sculpted out of bronze.
Yeah, like it has like a tiki kind of look almost.
Yeah.
So there isn't really much to go on there.
No.
But maybe it's like some kind of, well, I forget what they're called, like a yokai.
The ring yokai.
He was an unrelated ring that had been inhabited by a ring spirit when a dragon started to love it. Okay.
Oh no. Don't say love it, because there's just too much. But there are too many possibilities.
Oh, there's something about how like the dragon like curled up into a ring shape and like bit its tail. And it became
ring is
a
the
ring.
Ouroboros.
It just became a ring.
That's
That's what happens when you beat the game. You defeat Drago, and because he's also a dragon, there's some kind of connection there.
Yeah.
Workshop that.
Ring uncurls.
Yeah, and he becomes a dragon himself.
And they tease the sequel, Ring Stick Fit Adventure.
Immovable Rod Adventure. It's all pole vaulting themed.
Yes. It's so much more dangerous to do in your house. You get
Dude, go extreme.
the next fucking Fit game from Nintendo has like a little hurdle that you stick a Joy-Con in. Just jump over it. Make sure that you cushion your surroundings.
Make sure you have 10 feet of empty space around you.
You point the IR motion camera down so the game knows if you cheat and try and go
Go
underneath
under the-
of the pole vault. Yeah. Gotta be above. Try again.
So we've talked about Ring
Yeah.
quite a bit, but I kind of like all of the original characters in this. Like, I think we talked about this with
Two of them.
No, there's
Oh,
more.
yeah, they get
There's quite a bit more.
I
the
don't wanna
masters
count-
of exercise.
Oh,
Are,
okay,
are very
yeah. I did
bold.
forget about the Masters of Exercise.
But we talked about this with like WarioWare. Like, I like that there's just like a goofy, charming cast of characters here to like add some flavor to the world. Like even just Tipp, I think is really funny. He's just like a pool boy, basically, is how I think of him. And like Drago, I like so much. He's like so silly that I know Ring Fit's really popular in Japan. I'm kind of hoping if they add a Ring Fit character into Smash Brothers, it will just be him. So
He's too big for Smash. Though.
too big for Smash. He's the new one.
He's
He's
larger
new
than a
Ridley.
stadium.
He'll
It's
take
not
that
even-
crown.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah,
I would settle for just like a Drago amiibo.
that would be awesome, actually.
Yeah, he'd be 100% perfect for Amiibo.
But yeah, and like the shopkeeper is like one of them's named Honey, and I can't remember the other one's name. And then like even all the enemies, I think are cool. So like I think all the designs and like the aesthetic of this are really charming.
Yeah. Are you with me on this being like weirdly within like the Skyward Sword realm? Because that was like the major aesthetic touchstone for me when I was looking at this game.
Not quite, but I see what you're getting at. Like it does have this kind of pseudo cell shaded look, but it doesn't look like painterly like Skyward Sword did.
I wish there was a better word for this. Is a very popular animation style, at least within 3D animation, and I think Blender is partially responsible for this, but like fondant as like animation.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
I do too. It's just funny. I do. It's ironic to compare the Ring Fit art style to icing.
Yeah,
So
it almost kind of has like a Firewatch kind of look to it.
Yeah, I'd include Firewatch in the fondant trend.
But
Fondant
that
naturalist.
game that I have on Switch called Ashen.
Yeah.
And you saw like the picture of it, and you're like, I don't really like the look of that. It kind of the characters in that kind of have a similar quality where they almost look like they're sculpted out of clay or fondant.
Fondant is the hip and new
Yeah,
clay.
that is
yeah,
the
that's
hit-
true.
It's
because you can eat
delicious.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't eat clay.
Finally, a use for art. Just been wasting space
Yeah.
this whole time.
Yeah, you actually can eat clay in small quantities. There's
You've tested.
no, it's not a hypothetical. Like it's an ingredient in some, I think, Indian dishes. Like very tiny amounts of clay.
Interesting.
I don't know what it tastes like because I don't.
Does it taste anything like Play-Doh?
I would imagine it would taste like dirt, right? Because it comes from
The ground.
rocks.
Well, that's okay.
I mean-
Okay. There's a lot of delicious food things that also kind of taste like dirt, but that's good dirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, food things that come from rocks is really just like salt. Which like could be delicious, but that's not how I would describe it.
Dude, I guarantee that there is some like crazy food scientist who just heard you say that and is already typing an email about all the secret food rocks that like are used to construct our modern food and how delicious and great they are.
What fucking game did we play? Was it West of Loathing that had like meat mines?
Yep.
Yeah. I think
Because
that's
you used meat as money.
right.
So that was the joke, is that it was like gold.
Yeah, you mined it out of rocks. So that's the joke's been made. I'm not original. That's what I'm trying to say.
The world's mostly forgotten about West of Loathing already, so I think you're good.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's on Switch now, by the way, guys. Pick that shit up. It's great.
Okay. I'm just saying you can get away with it in polite company.
I want to talk about Tipp more. I love Tipp.
Tip for Smash.
Tipp for Smash. I was talking to one JJ like very soon after I began the game, and I distinctly remember this conversation where I had made the comparison between Tipp and the reckless Wiimote operator.
He's the son of that guy.
Yeah, well, we speculated what if he's the same guy, and I think that Tipp is too straight-laced.
I think Tip seems too young. Like, I feel like Wiimote guy is like older.
He's like in his 30s or something.
I think he's
Clumsy.
got to be. He's son of Wiimote throwing guy.
So- Which I could believe.
And in the Wii Fit trainer, because he looks a little bit like her too.
No, I don't want that to be a son situation because I want to ship them real hard. I want Tip and Wii Fit
He's
trainers
too.
to be a couple.
Okay, because he is a pool boy. Okay, there we
Wait,
go.
why is that?
Something about his personality just screams that to me.
And the shorts.
like the eager, like young athletic boy. Mm-hmm. I don't know. He's eager to please.
Yeah.
I feel like
He cleans Wii Fit trainers' pool, is all I'm saying. And
I feel like Wii
inappropriate
Fit
things
Trainer is
happen.
too young as well. I think
She's like an adult, though.
yeah, but for the pool boy relationship, she needs to be like 50.
Yeah. That's what I
guess.
object to because the pool boy relationship, A, is specifically assumes an enormous, like, twice your age mismatch, and B, is just explicitly pornographic in a way
Sure.
that I don't want their relationship to be. I want them to be, like, actual friends that, like, go on. I want to read the webcomic about the things they talk about in the car.
I mean, they could still have all those things with a pool boy relationship.
I mean, I guess. It's just not the 1st
Don't
thing
throw
you think
up
of.
obstacles in the way of their love, JJ.
Fine.
Who are you to say it's inappropriate?
I will say it's inappropriate for this conversation.
We don't know how old he is, so.
That's true.
Yeah, Tip could be like 13. This could be a wildly inappropriate. Yeah. He should be incredibly swole. And that, don't at me on this. I have seen some fucking swole 13-year-olds, so.
I was going to say, I don't view Tipp as being swole. Tipp is definitely supposed to be the athletic everyman, where you don't look at Tipp and go like, and feel like Drago is shown as being like a giant buff man in an antagonistic way. And there has to be no parallels between Tipp, who, as far as I can tell, doesn't even really exist in the Ring Fit universe.
Oh, yeah, that's another question.
Yeah, this is kind of like a meta-narrative, where like Tipp exists in the world that Ring Fit Adventure, the cartridge that you put into your Switch, exists in, and Drago exists within that game.
He's a game guide.
He's a game, yeah.
He's a spirit that
They should have named him Prima.
Prima sounds like a girl's name though.
Oh, okay.
That's his last name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tipp Prima.
Prima sounds like an
three Ps
effeminate.
in
Get your
row. I
tips
don't
from
like
the
it.
Prima Strategy guy.
He could be also Brady. There was a Brady Games guide back in the 90s.
Oh, I forgot about Brady Games.
His
Yeah.
name's just Game Shark.
You just talk to Tipp. He's like, if you really want to, I could just set your level to 99.
Are things too hard for you?
He just clearly display limited control over the difficulty of the things that you face in the fictional world of Ring Fit Adventure.
Yeah.
Just a Game Shark-like ability.
I'm actually, my mind is fucking warping now that I'm considering all of these things. Because, like,
He's a game leanie.
I hate it. I love it.
Yeah.
You keep doing you. But, like, I'm imagining, like, because your player avatar, right,
Yeah.
is, like, already a buff guy. But, like, the intent of Ring Fit Adventure is to become that man. Is to become buffer.
Or woman.
Or woman. And originally I was like, I am fine with it because obviously they don't want to have like a character creator, and they also don't want like me to come in and then be like, what's your age? How much do you weigh? And then they just put like a chunky middle-aged guy in the fucking game and be like, he's fighting this dragon. And you're like, well, no, he ain't, first of all.
Yeah. It needs to be idealized that you have something to reach for.
To aspire to. But it makes more sense if it's within the game and Tipp is the one who's accessing your personal information, who needs to know what your age is. Because he needs to set the difficulty for the game that he controls. Tipp is Sans.
Wait. I've got it.
Okay.
I think Tipp is the spirit that was inhabiting the body, and in the fictional world of Ring Fit Adventure,
Okay.
I think Tipp is like actually like a Buddhist master who has like ascended beyond his world's realm of existence and recognized the cartridge that he is in by like ascending to the video game meta layer, and then guides other souls to take control of his body in his place.
I feel like there's some kind of parallel. Like, I'm thinking of like Super Hot or like Ready Player One and other bullshit like that.
Yeah. And Tipp is just acting as the guy.
Or Sans was also a good.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
I think Tipp, he ascended to video game level. So he is trapped within the world of the video game, but he can see both sides. And he recognized the obesity epidemic and decided that he needed to do something about it by producing the game version of his life, which is Ring Fit Adventure.
Yeah, 100%. It's like a kill 6 billion demons thing,
Yes.
where he ascended to his heaven and saw naught but like destruction and obesity and unhealthiness, and aspired to create a
The
better
destruction
world.
was unrelated, but
It's arguable. There's factors that crisscross.
Tipp took the blue pill or the red pill, whichever one from the Matrix. Tipp is being played by Keanu Reeves in the movie adaptation.
also the moody adaptation.
In the Moody adaptation, yes.
Oh, you know what? I should probably plug for anyone who. This will be your reward, people who've made it through all of this bullshit in the second half. Is actually because. It might be implied by saying it is just real exercise, but like I lost 40 pounds in a year. Like this is like an actual thing that you can do to actually lose weight if you want to do that.
I did want to, because we joked or potentially said it seriously and then forgot about it.
Yeah.
That we would do like weigh-ins as we played Ring Fit Adventure, and as of my last. And I didn't do this because, first of all, okay, there's so much like fucking artifice around this because I don't want to sound like I'm advertising for Ring Fit here.
All right, well, let's just scrape it away. I know how you've already explained today how much you dislike the artifice of implied shilling discussions.
That is true.
Yeah.
So we'll shave all that away, but I will say that like. I was weighing myself unrelated to Ring Fit Adventure in the time around that I played it, and I have lost 30 pounds since I started playing Ring Fit in November or December, whenever that was. But I feel like the amount that it has to do with Ring Fit is probably like a 10%, as opposed to the rest of it, which is just I'm on a much more restrictive diet than I used to be.
Fair.
So, yes, I agree, and also during the winter months, it is imperative that like you have some way of not dying while trying to exercise, and going out in 3 feet of snow in 20-degree weather and being like, I'm gonna do some cardio today is a disaster because you will just fall and die. So I give Ring Fit actually a lot of credit for in like a way that Pokemon Go totally fucked up and was unable to do.
Yeah, but that was never even really a goal of Pokemon Go. That was just a thing that
It's a
news
side
reporters,
effect, yeah.
the people who you disdain, who historically have pushed and attempted to create exercise games, tried to do the same thing with Pokemon Go because they just desperately want all video games to be closer to their idea of an ideal society.
Or it was like a justification that like adults used for playing it. Like, oh yeah, it just gets me to take walks.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care about catching that Bulbasaur.
Which, as somebody who has played Pokemon Go on a walk, don't do it.
Why not?
It's so fucking. It's like so distracting to have the game going.
Yeah, but you're in a city. You go to a park.
Well, but then you have to go to the park though. Like,
And who wants to do that?
Well, my question it's not. It's not who wants to go to a park. It's who is doing like.
Yeah, you would have to go to the park just to play Pokemon Go.
Yeah, you are
there.
scheduling your exercise, which I think is the hardest thing to like maintain. Like, it's way harder to exercise regularly if you need to like plan around it. If you can just do it, which Ring Fit lets you do,
Absolutely.
then it's way easier to like maintain a schedule.
I agree specifically for the cool gamer demographic, but I
okay.
feel like I'd be remiss to ignore that like go to exercise on a schedule is like the entire business model of the YMCA.
Well,
right?
Also, and I didn't think that we would have to put this kind of a disclaimer in the episode, we are not medical professionals and don't really know shit about the best ways to exercise or do anything. Especially podcast. So if so take everything we say with a grain of salt. For me, it's way easier for me to be asked to exercise if I can just go do it on a whim. And I will do it at the same time every day. Like, my time for Ring Fit was between 7 and 9 a.m. Just somewhere in there, do it. And prior to that, it was I would walk in the mornings. But, like, I'm not going to get in my car at 7 in the morning and drive to a gym. Like, I'm just not ever going to do it.
Yeah, I find the best way to, like, make exercise routine is that you have to make, like, small changes. Like, you can't just... I think, like, just getting a gym membership and, like, just starting to go to the gym is trying to, like the equivalent of, like, trying to quit smoking cold turkey. Like, it's trying to do too much at once. And I think, yeah, like, Ring Fit is, like, a good supplement, I think, or like a good like foot in the door, because you can do a little a day and build up to like something more regular, and I think that's the key.
And the game doesn't like it doesn't like yell at you to keep going, right?
No.
No, yeah, it'll specifically tell you to like take breaks and not to play every day.
Yeah. Like, even mid-exercise.
Yep.
Like, you could be, like, 15 squats into a 20-squat set, and it'll just be like, hey, man, if you want to just, like, put the controller down, we'll just keep it running. Like,
Make
don't
sure
worry
to
about
stay
it.
hydrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. They went very far on the other end of that.
Yeah, that's something I find really impressive about the game. Is like I think is kind of what I was getting at earlier is how like it's a bunch of little subtle things that are sprinkled in a way that like you kind of don't even notice it in the moment. But yeah, they throw in a lot of like real life like important advice. Like the fact that it does encourage you to like take breaks, to drink water, even if it's like in the middle of something. In like, you know, to stretch, like the importance of like all like your posture, like and make sure that you do this exercises correctly. Like I just think that's a really impressive how they implemented that like so successful. Like they gamified that, which if you were like in the boardroom and they were like, this is one of our goals, like I feel like that would be so hard to figure out how to do well.
Yeah.
And this game does it like effortlessly, I think.
Yeah. I will say that at one point I did get a phone call from work while I was playing Ring Fit Adventure, and I picked up. I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" They were like, "Blah blah blah, do all this stuff," and like right in the middle of the phone call, because all I did was just like stop doing the thing I was doing. The Ring just like busted in. It was like, "Hey, feel free to take breaks if you need to," and I was just like.
should have hit the home button.
It's pretty passive aggressive of you, Ring, to get on like that. Yeah.
I just like jumped in while I'm on the phone. That like we finish up the phone call, and the guy I was talking to was just like, "All right, keep your heart rate up, man."
Wait, that implies that guy
Knew
heard that.
what Ring Fit was.
Yeah. Huh. There are others.
They're
We are out there.
Yeah, I think this game is weird enough that, and like enough people have Switches that like people know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And let us be the litmus test that says, if you're curious, you go get him, Tiger. You grab that ring.
I feel like you could cut that out and use it as like an encouraging bit of audio for like so many great things. Are you proposing to someone? Go get him, Tiger. Grab that ring. Are you in the Olympics for gymnastics? Go get him, Tiger. Grab that ring.
Okay, you added 4 gymnastics. And I thought you were implying that, like...
Olympic ring.
Yeah. That's also what I was thinking too.
That's so good.
The winner of like the 100-meter dash just keeps going, just grabs it and goes. You're at the Olympics. By definition, no one can catch you. Like that.
You're definitely faster than the security guards.
Correct.
Excuse me, sir. Would you like French fries or onion rings?
Go get him, Tiger. Grab
Get that
those rings.
Imagine how demoralizing it would be to like be a security for the Olympics. It'd be outside security, sure, you can have a chance on those bastards, but if the trouble's coming from the inside the house, you're just fucked.
Oh,
JJ,
yeah.
There's nothing but respect at the Olympics, okay?
Okay.
That is true.
I happen to know there's a lot of sex at the Olympics, at least, as well.
That'll also keep crime rates down.
Are you at the Olympics and due to the now popular culture knowledge shortage of condoms that occurs around the Olympics, need to go grab a set from like a local bathroom like quarter machine that gives you like a big strip of them like tickets at a fucking arcade?
Uh-huh.
Go get him, Tiger. Grab that ring.
Aren't all condoms packaged that way?
I mean, yeah,
Where they're
but
all on a
On
thing?
like a big strip. I mean, I've had the kind that are like individually
Single, yeah,
wrapped.
yeah, it's
they
one
come
or
in a
the
box.
other.
fucking
Yeah.
premium condoms.
Yeah. What is
Each
it?
one is on a little pillow.
They're in like a little trapezoidal box, like
Yeah,
the
it's
fucking chocolate frogs from
like
Harry Potter.
like an engagement ring. But for your dick. All right. We've officially gone too far.
How much more do we have?
Yeah, I don't have nothing.
Yeah.
I was just gonna immediately from there go into like, and you give us the engagement ring for your dick by liking us.
Like, comment
Yeah, yeah.
and subscribe. Go get him, Tiger.
Ring that bell.
Yeah, we're kind of exhausted my stuff too.
All right. I mean, that's fine.
It's not a deep game. It's just long and surprisingly effective and entertaining.
Yeah, that's. Well, you kind of jumped me on that one because I was going to ask if we had fitness thoughts. It's been a while. I do a dumb joke whenever we go into final thoughts now.
I see. I see.
It's bad. I should have never started it, but now I'm stuck with it.
It's okay. I believe you.
So I guess my fitness thoughts are, this is just as like goofy and charming as I thought it looked from the trailers. So I can't say like, oh, it was such a surprise or anything, but I was really pleased with what I found here, and like was actually surprised by like how good of a workout it was. And I think if I was in a position where I wasn't already like in a habit of like doing a workout every day when I started playing it, like I would have played it more often. So it didn't quite slot into my lifestyle. But I think as like we implied as we were talking about it, like this totally can just be your workout routine, and it is effective. As JJ said, he lost 40 pounds doing it. So it is legit, and it's yeah, just really successfully like actually like gamified fitness in a way that I don't think I've ever seen before. Like when I thought of a fitness game before this, it was something like Wii Fit, where it was like really dry and just kind of like a fitness app that's like got like a host that, you know, like Wii Fit trainer that tells you how to do stuff, and that's about it. So yeah, I think this is really successful, and I would really like to see more, and we'll be curious to see if there's like imitators, because like I think this game's really onto something. And yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. Very impressed.
Ring Fit Adventure is the putt-putt exercise RPG of video games.
Putt-putt like miniature golf, or putt-putt like the car?
Like the car from the 90s, like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
All the good feelings that you have about the putt-putt CD games, they transfer over to Ring Fit Adventure in good ways. If you find the concept of putt-putt amusing in your adult life, you dive right the fuck into this video game. You will adore it and actually lose weight somehow through the power of irony. It's wonderful.
Side effects of Ring Fit Adventure might include the game is the things that you guys said. I've never been so thoroughly covered by the prior final thoughts. I also was surprised at how effective this is at actually being exercise and not being horse shit. This is a legitimately good workout. If you are not trying to do like some very specialized thing, this is like the best form of a generalized workout game that I can like conceptualize personally. And for that, I have to give it a lot of props. I understand that the game is very long, because if you stopped exercising when you beat the game, that would be a bad thing. So the game kind of wants you to get into a habit to the point where even when it's over, you will want to continue at least doing something with that same time. And if I had any complaints about it, they're just because I do not like RPGs. And so when the game tells me to go buy items and stuff, I'm like, ugh, buy items? I don't even want to use items in the game. So yeah, I agree with what everyone said. I'm not 100% sure that I understand the putt-putt analogy.
Fair.
But yeah, that's my endorsement as well. Thank you for listening to NOCLIP this week.
What are we talking about next time?
Next time, we're going to be talking about Jak and Daxter, which JJ will be joining us for.
What? No. Oh, no. Fuck that. No, that sounds horrible. Is that a platformer from the PS2?
It's a 3D platformer from 2001.
Nah, I'm good.
All right. That's good because we already recorded it.
No.
We did it in advance in case there were scheduling conflicts, which there were.
Yep.
But we did it anyway. Go us.
Until that time, you can get a hold of us. All of our contact information is on our website at noclippodcast.com. There you can find links to all of our old episodes, to the Discord, to the Twitter, to the YouTube. You can listen to episodes about Final Fantasy X, WarioWare,
or Splatoon, other weird Nintendo games.
Yeah,
typing games that are good.
Oh yeah,
Epistory.
Mm-hmm. Gamified other things other than exercise.
Yep. Go get him, Tiger.
Grab that ring. Smash that like button. That's how that goes.
That's what a salmon